Whoever fights monsters should see to it in the process he does not become a monster. Yesterday, I found myself in a conversation, one of many, but a conversation with someone that I trust implicitly, a person who has unparalleled knowledge within the realm of politics and in the theater of war. There's nobody that I would lean on who knows more about this than this person. I'm not going to tell you exactly who it is. You can figure it out on your own. You can use your detective work, but I'm not necessarily sure that this person gave me the privilege to use their name with what I'm about to tell you. But the individual shared a sentiment that literally made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Really, for the first time since I've known this person, they expressed some fear for our nation, fear that thousands and thousands and thousands of migrants, illegal immigrants, have come across the border, ready to wreak havoc and cause chaos. A fear that the enemy is not only at the gate, but has breached the gate. Border agents arrested 70,000 special interest aliens. 70,000 recently of special interest. There's a memo within the world of Washington and politics, Hezbollah fighters potentially using the southern border to enter the United States of America. I'm not making this up. This is a Fox News story right in front of me. 70,000 arrested. More Hamas fighters coming across the southern border. We've been talking about this for how long? Well, now this moment is upon us. And for the first time, this trusted person, who I know is in the know, is genuinely concerned about the well-being of the country. A fear that I would say transcends the usual back and forth political discourse that we had. There was something different about this person's voice yesterday. He actually said to me, he says, I really think that the Capitol is the target, a trophy coveted by those who wish to dismantle the very symbol of democracy. If you remember when they went after the Twin Towers, they went after the Twin Towers because it was a symbol of what America is, right? Money and wealth and prosperity. The Twin Towers rising above this majestic city, and they knocked it down. They could have went after other targets. I mean, they did go after the Pentagon, and we think they were going to go after the Capitol that day as well, but They had their sights set on specific targets to prove a point of sorts, to show that they can take down this great America. Well, what better trophy to have than the Capitol Dome? So imagine the epicenter of democracy potentially in the crosshairs of our mortal enemy. And will you be ready when the world comes crashing down? Will you be ready when things go sideways? I was watching videos yesterday showing these Hezbollah terrorists breaching homes and holding families hostage, speaking to them, looking, for other people. In other words, almost terrorizing them as they're all sitting huddled in fear, with some of their family members shot, some wounded, some dead. And I'm watching this thinking to myself, well, that certainly could be East Lyme and Waterford, New London, Groton next week. Don't think for a second the idea that this area is not a prime terror target. Don't let that slip away from your brain, because we still are. We have more, I would think, other than military installations, I would think eastern Connecticut, right, this half of the state, has more potential terror targets per square mile than anywhere in the country. when you think about it. I mean, just roll Pfizer, Sub Base, Gold Star Bridge, Millstone, the casinos. I'm missing one. But anyway, there's a couple more. I'm doing this off the top of my head. But there are absolute terror targets within the circle of where we're listening right now, where the home base is. So if they're coming out of the sky, if they're formulating their plans here while already here, certainly it could be here where a terror strikes. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying this is a wake-up call maybe for everybody. And, this person who I was talking to yesterday, genuinely, a lot of times, what he says is over the top, bolstering, and bravado and et cetera. But in this case, no. It was more somber and more serious in tone. And will you be ready when it comes? The echoes of uncertainty reverberate. And the challenges we face are more significant. And as we navigate through all of these troubled waters, are you ready to stand resilient in the face of such adversity? Do you have the backbone for this? Do you have the mental makeup for this? I just think that we're getting to that edge. There was somebody who asked me a question through social media, and I did not get an answer to it. But that world doomsday clock, which every once in a while is referenced, how close is that to midnight? How much would it take, really, to set this thing ablaze? Don't you feel like all the pieces of timber and tinder are in this fire pit, ready for somebody just to strike a match and throw it in? What is that going to be? What match? And I got to say one other thing, too, about this whole Hamas deal. And I got to get to this a little bit later on, maybe with a couple of guests. And I don't have an answer for it. I certainly will talk about it tomorrow with Gordon. But the more I look and the more I read about Israel and how essentially the country is like a fortress. Walls, guards, like every X amount of feet, there are guards, armed guards with either machine guns or automatic rifles of some sort, right? It's a military type state. Like you can't, it's like almost unfathomable to breach the walls of Israel. Yet somehow, all these men got in and killed 1,500 people. It seems impossible. It seems, and I hate to say this, and I don't think what happened, the atrocities didn't happen. I'm not talking about that kind of a conspiracy theory. But man, I think something really has to be looked at from the intelligence perspective of this. As if did somebody purposely drop the ball here to start this chaos? Because, Israel has been involved in civil unrest for a while, right? Netanyahu is not loved. And how do you bring your people together? A catastrophe. Close your eyes for 15 minutes and these monsters come across the southern border or the border or whatever, border of Israel, and they kill 1,500, rape and behead, the most heinous crimes in history, and what happens? Your whole country is galvanized behind you. It happens in a blink of an eye. It happened in 9/11. And the reason why I bring that up is because I don't trust anybody anymore. As you learn more and you dig deeper into some of this stuff and you maybe gain wisdom as you age,